Sing along, kids. It's the theme song you love to sing along to.
Damage control, damage control.
There you go.
Damage.
The vocalist that you're listening to is Joe Reichel. You're listening to the hot hits of radio theme songs. How you doing, Joe?
Wonderful. Good morning, everybody.
Answer questions about damage and remodeling.
Damage, remodeling, new construction. You know, one of the things, I had a conversation with a lady, and you know, her thing was, I've got this home, and I don't know what I need to do to take care of it. So it was kind of a cool opportunity to talk about the different things that for her home that she needed to know about. Like, for example, a yearly maintenance, service maintenance on her air conditioning. This is something that a lot of times people don't do, but by doing this, it's going to extend the life of your air conditioning unit, and it's going to help out making sure that your unit's running properly and that it's the most economical. So there's different companies out there that offer contracts to do a yearly maintenance, and you know, it's not very expensive, and it's going to help you in the long run. A lot of times calls that we get are air conditioners, they'll freeze up and then they start the water starts pouring out on the floor, or
right.
You know, this lady's air conditioner, for example, is up in the attic. So if something was to happen up there, and next thing you know, the water's coming through the ceiling and you don't know what to do. So
not for damage necessarily like that, but I do have a question about remodeling.
I like remodeling questions.
Okay, let's say you're listening to this radio show and you're saying, you know what, I would love to have those guys come out. Let me go to the bank and see if I can get a home improvement loan or something like that, right?
Right.
How do you know how much to ask for?
Well, I mean, that's where a lot of times it really depends on the project that you're wanting to do. We can meet with you ahead of time.
That's what I was going to say. You must need a professional to look at it first.
Well, and there you've got to figure out what you want. Once you figure out what you want, we can work out a budget and go from there as far as what it's going to cost you to do whatever project. So
you'd have to describe what you had in mind, and then you'd have a better idea.
It might take if it's a big project where there may be plans needed. Maybe you're going to do an addition, so you need to have plans, and then we would go ahead and price it out. In addition to, we'd work with the different subcontractors and figure out their pricing for it.
Okay, so I'm going to throw a number at you, and it might be too low, because I don't know anything about this. But let's say I wanted to remodel my kitchen.
Right.
And I said to you, here's $1,200. What can you do with $1,200? Would that not get much done?
No, you could do, and it really depends on your kitchen, and it depends on your taste too.
Oh, really? Okay.
But $1,200 would be a good little project.
So if you had the money and you said, "Look, this is what I got,"
right? And here it depends what you want to do, and that's where bathrooms, kitchens, and flooring. Let's just throw those in there. Those are numbers, or those are areas. If you're doing a new house or a remodel or an addition, or let's just say you want to build brand new, those areas, your bathroom, kitchen, and your flooring can dramatically increase the cost of your home, because there's such a wide range of available options that you can put in there. Flooring, for example, you can get stuff that's 99 cents a square up to $10 a square foot. So,
oh my gosh,
it really depends
what is that?
Well, it depends
Wood?
some of your woods and stuff. So it really depends what you're putting in there, what you want to do, with the area. Kitchen countertops, for example, are you doing Formica, or are you wanting some of the quartz or granite, or
So do you ever have somebody say...
like a real wood countertop?
So
it really depends what you want.
So let's say they say to you, look, I want to remodel the kitchen, the living room, whatever, and this is how much money I've got. And you say, okay, well, this is what it'll get you. And they go, you know what? Let me do the painting. They take on some of the tasks themselves. Does that normally work out?
Sometimes it can. I mean, it really depends, and we don't discourage any homeowners from doing some of the work or trying to make a project cheaper. But here's the downside of that. Something can happen, and you might not be able to get it done. Or we had and I've told this story before. We had a homeowner that wanted to do all the painting in his project, and it was an extensive remodel project, interior, exterior, addition and remodel in his home. And in the process, he fell off the ladder and broke both wrists. So, he no longer can do the painting.
Yeah, I think I remember this one. Yeah.
We had to hire someone else to come in and take care of that. And, fortunately it was in the budget already, because you never know. And a lot of times these projects, I mean, you start taking on a painting project, for example, and even though you might not mind painting, it's going to probably be a little more work than what you anticipate. So you do one room and then you look at it and you go, I don't think I want to do any more of this. We've had homeowners do that. Even demolition projects, they say, well, we want to do the demolition, and they'll start on a Friday and they work Fridays, after work, and Saturday and Sunday and Monday, and they only got part of it done, and they say, this is more than what we really wanted to do, and so we'll sometimes work out doing the rest of it for them.
So I want to paint the room, and my cousin Eddie, he's got one of those spray painters. Do I allow him into the house with that compressor?
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
As long as Eddie knows what he's doing.
Well, he's not going to get it on the carpet and everything, right?
Well, and that's where a lot of times in our projects, one of them, for example, we did a tile demolition in a house. And anytime you do demolition work, there's going to be extensive dust that you don't really account for. And we'll go in and tape off, put plastic around all your cabinets, and make sure that the dust is confined to an area and it's not going throughout the house. I had one homeowner, she called me and she says, it looks like there's about to be a crime scene or a crime committed in my house because I've got all this plastic everywhere. So it was kind of funny, but I mean, that's what she likened it to.
Right. I can see that too.
Everything being protected. So, there's a lot of things that go into a project that people don't realize, don't think about, and that's the thing. If you're getting Cousin Eddie to come over, make sure everything is covered up and you're not going to get overspray on everything because, even when you're running a roller, a lot of times that the roller coming off of it is little splatters of paint, and that's getting on your flooring. Or you're cutting in and you're getting the paint for the wall on the trim, and now you got to repaint the trim. Or when the wall paint is different color than the ceiling paint, and you get paint on the ceiling, and now you got to address that. So there's a lot of things go into different.
And is the paint better if it's not water soluble? Like if you need turpentine to clean the brushes, is that a better paint?
I wouldn't say it's a better paint. It's a different paint. So you have different applications for different types of paint.
But the cleanup is so much easier with soap and water, don't you think?
A lot easier with a water-based paint.
So you have no problem with water-based paints then?
Well, it really depends where you're putting it and
Indoors.
make sure it's the right. And you can put it on the outside too.
Oh, really?
But you really need to make sure it's the right paint for the right. If you're using, and it'll say on it if it's an exterior paint. I mean, you don't want to use interior paint on the exterior.
Wow, that was fast. Okay, we have the phone lines open if you want to call Joe. The number is 622-9622. We'll take a little break and be right back with your questions. 622-9622. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. Plenty of clouds today, not much sun, warm and humid with a couple of showers around, high 79 to 83. Mostly cloudy, warm and muggy tonight with a shower in places, low 65 to 69. For tomorrow, a mostly cloudy, warm, humid day with a shower, high 80 to 84. Thursday, clouds and some sunshine, high 81 to 85. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Are you in need of custom screen printing, embroidery, or promotional items? Then look no further and come visit the brand new Legacy Team Sales. LTS is conveniently located off 17th Street next to Armstrong Homes in beautiful Ocala. We offer the best prices and highest quality products for your company, team, school, or nonprofit. Whether looking for screen printed shirts, embroidered polos, or travel team uniforms, you'll be sure to find it at Legacy Team Sales. Come visit our new 27,000 square foot facility. Our friendly and knowledgeable sales staff will assist you in every part of your custom purchase. LTS carries the hottest brands in the industry like Under Armour, Russell, Mizuno, Asics, Badger Sports, Gildan, Pacific, Ogio, and many more. At LTS, screen printing embroidery is done in-house and we guarantee customer satisfaction. Stop by, give us a call, or check us out on the web at shoplts.com. Remember the name, LTS.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
So how can watching a scary film make you happier? When the scary, heart-pounding moments end, we get a surge of feel-good chemicals, which can leave us feeling happy long after the movie is over. The study finds we can save 40 cents per gallon on average buying milk at the drugstore. The first step in breaking a hair-pulling habit is to simply be aware of it, because most nervous habits are done unconsciously.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 840-0750. That's 840-0750.
12 minutes before 11 o'clock. If you're looking at the live streaming of this broadcast, then you see that handsome young man with the blue shirt. That's Joe Reichel. And if you're just listening, you'll hear his voice in a second. If you have a question for Joe, this is a good time to call. The number is 622-9622. Joe, of course, is an expert on home repair and home remodeling. He works with a couple of guys named Mike and Rob, and they own a company called Damage Control Services. So they'll come by, they'll fix the things that are broken, they'll give you advice if you want to do it yourself, and of course, they'll help you out if you just simply want to remodel, which sounds more pleasant to me than having to deal with fires or floods but of course that's part of life.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and disasters happen. That's the sad part about it, and they oftentimes happen in the most unpleasant timing. You never know when it's going to happen, and you need to address it. And we have homeowners all the time that basically these things happen to them. They don't know what to do. For example, we're working with a client. They had a break-in, and unfortunately, this time of the year, there's a lot of them.
Isn't that sad? Yeah, people just stealing stuff.
It really is. So, she had her door broken, and we had to go out there and board it up and secure it so that they felt safe in there. And then we're working to put it all back together. So cleaned up all the broken glass and got it all cleaned up for her, and now we're going to put everything back together.
If somebody wanted to just change windows, is that a big job? Like for example,
well, it really depends how many windows you have and what kind of a lot of things come into play here. What kind of home do you have? Is it wood frame? Is it a block frame?
Right.
Are they stuccoed up against the windows? Do you have to take some of that stucco out in order to put the new windows in there? Or is it a wood frame home where you have the wood trim that goes up against it? So,
do you know what I've seen some people do? They take it, rather than putting one of those window air conditioning units in the window, they'll actually put a hole in the wall.
Yeah, a lot of times people will, and we've even in the process of building homes, a lot of times, or additions, a lot of times with these newer units, like they call the Mitsubishi mini splits. It's a unit that goes in the wall and will do excellent as far as heating and cooling an extra room if you're adding on. So that's a great option, and a lot of people use that, and it's a unit that just fits in the wall, and it'll cool and heat that one room.
We talk about it cooling all the time, but we'll need some heating at the end of this week. Got some cool temperatures moving in.
It's supposed to cool down. So, a lot of times, as we're going into the winter, a lot of leaves are falling right now because of the time of the year, and it'll continue to do so. So make sure your gutters are clean, things like that. Make sure that the vegetation's not stacking up against the house.
Yeah, it's just a part of it's still growing. All the bushes are still growing, and they're still dropping leaves. It's just the way it is.
And there's a lot of things that, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, these little maintenance items that people need to do to stay up on top of. And, we've talked about knowing where your water shutoff is, and even we've talked about having one installed right at the house so that you know and can get to it quickly.
Yeah, if it gets to freezing, it could burst something open, couldn't it?
Well, it really could, and that's where a lot of times people, they make sure that they have their outside spigots, the hose bibs that are on the house, they protect those. If you have your water, your pump outside, you can wrap that to protect it with this colder weather.
You're in the business of repairing things that have been damaged, and sometimes the damage is from fire. So my next question is, have you ever had a situation where the house actually had a fire from the emergency heat thing that kicks in on the heat pumps? There's like a coil or something in there?
There's fires caused by all kinds of things, and that is one of the things that people need to be...
That could happen?
Yeah, oh yeah. Anytime you have electrical or gas, you can have fires. So making sure that these things are set up or maintenance on them is a huge thing.
Because I know when they first come on, like they haven't been on all year long, and they first kick in, it smells like something's burning. What is that?
The dust on the coils and stuff as it's heating, that'll cause an odor. So that's comical for that to burn off. If that's something, and that's where, if it's making a funny noise, if it smells odd, a lot longer than it should, these are things that you want to get checked. You don't want to just let it go. So, we've talked about, for example, checking your breaker box, your circuit breakers. Touch that circuit breaker and see if any of them are getting hot. If one's getting hot, it's
something's wrong with it.
Something's wrong with it. It needs to be replaced. It may just be a loose wire.
Yeah.
It needs to be tightened down. So, these are things that homeowners really need to be checking on. Even, checking occasionally underneath the sink and looking to make sure that
something's not leaking.
You don't have drips or, something dripping. And those are, that can happen, and you don't even really notice it.
And you mentioned before about the water line that goes into the ice maker on the refrigerator.
That's something that we get a lot of calls for broken,
culprit of
a lot of leaks. One thing that homeowners don't really pay too much.
You don't look at that a whole lot,
right? And another thing that we have a tendency to look at and not really pay much attention to is grout joints in showers or bathtub areas where the grout is, and it might be cracked just because of age or movement, whatever.
Right.
That water is continually going through there and causing problems. So, if you have an area where it's turning black because of mildew in the grout, you've got water that has gotten behind there, and that's what's causing that. So, extensive areas.
When you clean the mold off of that grout with bleach, Does the bleach literally deteriorate the grout? Like, could it cause it to be more porous? No?
No, bleach isn't going to deteriorate the grout, but bleach is a water-based product, so it's not really, it's not getting it. It's just it's changing the color of it. It's not getting it out completely. And what's happened typically is that mildew has gone through, or the water has gone through, and it's gotten into the drywall or whatever behind there, the green board, and it just continues to feed back through. So, that's something that, until that's dug out and treated properly, it's probably just going to come back. A lot of times people don't realize that.
The phone number is 622-9622 if you have a question for Joe about your repair project that you're doing, or maybe you need some professional advice. This is a good time to call. But if you don't get through right now, maybe you can't, you're driving, you're at the cash register and you're working, what's your phone number at your place?
My direct line to me is 352-817-6574, or you can email me, joe@damageflorida.com.
And you have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Joe Reichel.
Good morning, Joe. I have a question for you. I had there's a weekly show or a commercial or whatever you want to call it on the radio, and they talk about how they're going to come out and going to service your air conditioning system, and they're going to renovate your air conditioning system, and they're going to do all of this, and they're all going to do all of that for you, and it's $29.95, and now. I think it was $29.95, or I think it was. So I thought, well, I've got two air conditionings in my house. I'll just get them to check them both at the same time while they're here and pay the double for it, which I did. And I understand that you're not going to get what are you going to get for $30? I know it costs money to go out and do the vehicle and everything. It costs money to go out and do that.
Right.
So the guy came out and he checked my air conditioning system. He said, Mr. McCoy, he said, your house, he said, your air conditioning system is fantastic. He said, everybody should maintain their system like you do. He pulled the covers off and he washed out the coils and the condensers and all of the stuff. And I was impressed with that. And I thought, so we finished up and he checked the electrical. He never hooked AC hoses to the actual system. But I being in a similar situation with automotive, I know that you could actually check pressures through temperature. I understand that, and I'm assuming in the home it's a similar process. You can do that also. But in the end up, he told me, well, you have on this one system, on this unit, you have a capacitor that is weak. Okay, I understand that a capacitor is weak, and he tells me I can replace that capacitor for you. And now I know the capacitor is $12, and they're going to replace the capacitor at $185.
Holy cow!
And he's going to replace it for me. Well, little to his, I knew what I was doing with the system, but for $29, I'll let him clean them for me. So, I mean, I wasn't playing a game. I'm just giving them their opportunity.
Yeah.
But he's telling me $185 to
Wow.
replace these.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, a lot of times, I hate to interrupt. We're running right out of time here. A lot of times, they do a smaller service fee in order to be able to get that. $29.95 is really low, but sadly, sometimes they try to make up with other things. But
that's what we hate to hear, that kind of story. Yeah.
Thank you for the call,
I
though.
like truth in advertising, though. I think they should advertise it that they're going to, and they'll charge you a fair amount and then come out and look at it.
Absolutely.
But there are people out there that do stuff like that.
Yep.
And you have to be cautious of them.
Sure do. Thank you for the call and the comments.
Yeah. And the warning.
Yeah, and the warning. Great show today. If you have any questions, further comments, 352-817-6574 or joe@damageflorida. That's my direct email.
You did it like a pro. We'll be right back.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Lillian Wu. The second largest school district in the nation closed because of a threat. Los Angeles School Superintendent Ramon Cortines just now.
I think it is important that I take the precaution based on what has happened recently and what has happened in the past.
The police chief there says an electronic threat was received early today. All schools slated to be searched. Republican presidential hopefuls are gearing up for a debate tonight in Las Vegas. Positioned to one side of frontrunner Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, who's surging in Iowa.
A Fox News poll gives Cruz the advantage there. Trump has noticed, now questioning Cruz's temperament to lead. Dr. Ben Carson, who has faded a bit, will also have a podium next to Trump. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is back on the main stage tonight after an undercard appearance last month.
Fox Radio's Jared Halpern.